Okay, let's move on to Epcot. There's a lot more comments. I'm never gonna get through this else. So I'm so sorry if I don't get to yours, but I gotta keep going, keep rolling. So
Okay.
Kelly says my husband says Maelstrom is better than Frozen.
I don't remember Maelstrom.
I do,
but I like the idea of Viking stuff. But now I have seen video of Maelstrom. Maelstrom was definitely interesting, but I think, I don't know.
I mean, it
I
just
can't
took
really weigh in.
it just took like folklore from
Right.
the culture and like the the tales and stuff. So it was fine, but it wasn't drawing any crowds. Like it never had a wait. Like putting Frozen in it was very smart for Disney to do.
That's one of those things you can say. Like you can both say Maelstrom was a better attraction, but understand why they put Frozen in there from a business standpoint, because obviously it's going to bring people in. So
I like Maelstrom. I liked it like just fine. I don't agree with this though. I don't think that it's better than Frozen. I think they did a really good job fitting Frozen into existing Maelstrom. I think they did a really good job. Does it make sense in Norway?
different conversation.
Debatable, but
the conversation we had in the live stream last night, where a lot of it's like the parks are, a lot of that, you can make an argument that a lot of the parks are losing their identity because everything just now has to have an IP attached to it, a la Moana going into Epcot. And,
right. Okay, so I've got two that I can see for now, but Lisa and Casey said Figment is overrated.
The ride or the character?
They just said Figment, so I'm guessing maybe both.
The ride for sure. I loathe that ride. That ride is the bane of. I'm glad our children no longer really like to do it. Mm-hmm. That's how you know you love your children, when you take them on that repeatedly. Figment the character, I'm not old enough to know the whole like thing about Figment and the lore of it. I suppose that was before me. But I'm not against people liking. Like I get nostalgia and like you like certain things. For me personally, like if you're saying like the Figment meet and greet, am I willing to wait 45 minutes for it? No. I know 30 minutes for me would be pushing it. Like if you're like, hey, 10 minutes, I'd be like, okay, fine. Like it's a picture we can take with the kids. So in that sense, I would probably agree. Okay. But again, I don't have the nostalgia of Figment. So that's just coming from my perspective. I think this is a perspective thing, probably.
Perspectives.
It's 2:30 in the a.m.
Autumn said, Festival of the Arts is the best Epcot festival. I agree wholeheartedly.
I would agree.
Flower and Garden Festival, close second. Festival of the Holidays, third. Food and Wine is my least favorite.
I've kind of come around to I never had Food and Wine as my number one.
Yeah.
But I definitely kind of agree more and more. I think Festival of the Arts is the most cool and unique one. And the weather is fantastic.
Oh my gosh. I mean, have I talked about this on the show before? But like my reasons why I don't like Food and Wine?
Yeah, we talked about it before.
Okay. Those still stand. Should I repeat myself? I'm going to repeat myself.
It's too long.
It's too hot. It's the hottest festival. It starts in July and goes until November. November is not that bad. It's okay in November.
It's like a one festival that should be two.
It's way too long. Since all the pandemics have happened, there's nothing special about this. There's no extra anything. Whereas Flower and Garden has topiaries. They've got the gardens. They've got the butterfly house. They've got all that stuff. Festival of the Arts has all the paintings and the art creations, and you meet the artists and the performance arts and all that stuff. Mm. And then Festival of the Holidays, you've got the narrators from each country. You've got like the holiday feel. Still, they all have.
And again, the weather is.
And the weather, they all have like the marketplaces or the booths or studios, whatever you want to call them. They've all got the strolls. They've got the scavenger hunts. Like that's all the same for every festival. But you can't tell me that Food and Wine does it the best anymore, because they don't.
I would agree. I think that.
I'm sorry, but they don't.
I don't think that's even I guess it depends. I don't even think that's really a hot take or an unpopular opinion. I feel like Food and Wine gets the most notoriety just because it's in the summer.
It was the first one, so
right.
maybe that's
And
why.
it's like, it does have the bands that come. They do have that part of it.
But there's Garden Rocks.
Right.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I agree with you.
know.
I think, my first festival I ever did, like with you and I, was Food and Wine.
right.
But I agree. I think Festival of the Arts is the best one because it's the most unique. I think the art alone, which I really enjoy, and our daughter really enjoys it now too.
Yeah.
And then the food is unique, and then it looks a little bit different. So I think it brings the most to the table. And again, just from a sheer weather standpoint, Food and Wine has the most to go against it because it's just it starts off in the middle of July.
Well,
just
it's the end of September. It started 2 months ago, and we still have not been.
But the thing is about this year, like I really feel like even I guess you could call us like we're part of that group of like the people that cover this stuff. I feel like people went for like one time and they're like, here's this and this, and then nobody ever talked about it again. I really feel like the amount of people that are really interested in going to, and maybe this is because travel's down a bit anyways, but I feel like there's not even really a hype around Food and Wine as much this year.
Well, it's just the food. There's nothing else. And that's my point.
And a lot of the food hasn't changed that much either.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of.
They did have. they had new items.
They did have some new items. You say all in all, it's not like they have brand new stuff every single year.
Sure.
So yeah, that is true. Like we haven't even been yet, and most years we have a lot of people asking our opinions on things. Like there hasn't been hardly anybody that's really been like, hey, what do you think about this, and that?
We got questions about like the pickle milkshake, but I
can tell you right now, I won't like it. But
no.
I would agree. I would, if you're asking me, would I much rather plan a trip around Food and Wine or Festival of the Arts? I would say Festival of the Arts.
Oh my gosh.
Every single time.
That's kind of why we moved our Club 32 meetup to January, so we could all go to Festival of the Arts together.
It's true.
Honestly, that's part of it. Anyway, sorry, I'm on a tangent, but I feel strongly.
That was a Jamie hot take.
Jamie's
hot takes are much more mild and calmer, I've noticed.
Thank you.
That's more.
I try to be calm. Also, Ivan Burkett and Brandon, he also said about Figment. I got a lot of Figments. Grand Fiesta Tour should get an expansion and change as a water coaster. That's what Brandon said.
It's kind of unfeasible though, just given where it's at in that, because there were rumors too that like Coco was going to go in there, which would make sense. The problem with it is if you put Coco in there where it is right now, it's going to be the same Frozen effect. It's going to have a lot more people wanting to ride it, and that pavilion can't handle that many people. So then you have to do something with that line queue. How would you do it? And then basically to do it, you would have to shut down the whole pavilion while you did it. So I think it's just a logistical nightmare to do it, is kind of the reason I think they haven't done it.
Let's see. Carrie said, she said a couple things, but I'm going to say this. She said, Moana in Epcot is terrible. Why?
Agreed. Oh, it makes
We
sense.
talked about this last night.
I agree. I think it doesn't make any sense. And my whole thing I've said is, how is this going to look in 10 years? Like there's certain, if you want to put your IPs in the parks, and obviously Disney has gone down this path for a while now, and to varying levels of success. But the thing is, like certain IPs have lasting effect. Like for instance, Little Mermaid. I don't think anybody would argue. I think Little Mermaid is still relevant at Magic Kingdom as it was 10 years ago. There's just certain ones that have a lasting effect. I guess you would call them a classic. Frozen, I think, would fit into that. I think Frozen will fit into that pavilion and the Frozen ride 10 years from now as much as it does now. I think it's that popular. Moana, I looked up last night. Moana made like $600 million at the box office. That's good, but it's not like this. Like Frozen literally made like double that money in the first one. The second one is even more. So I don't like in 10 years, it's a water like featured attraction, and those things tend to need a lot of maintenance to begin with. So it's like, how is it actually going to look in 10 years? And is Moana even going to be something that people, are they going to be excited? Are they going to be like, oh yeah, that was that movie? Because I don't think they're going to do any sequel. I mean, they did say they're going to do a live action, which, okay. But yeah, I agree. I don't think it belongs in Epcot though. I think it makes way more sense in Animal Kingdom. I think if you put that attraction in Animal Kingdom, I would say, sure, that makes sense. Like, that does fit more.
Yeah. This is the last Epcot one we're going to do.
Okay.
Living with the Land is amazing, according to Megan. One of the only attractions I'll actually wait in line for. Emily and Kelly both echo that statement. Strongly don't agree with that. This is not nostalgic for me at all. I get very bored during this ride, and it's not for me, and that's okay.
This ride has a fan base to it.
It really does.
I don't understand it, but I'm not one.
This is the same kids that did it as kids.
Well,
I remember how it did it as kids.
It's the same thing I've said about, like, I have many harsh words for Star Wars.
Many harsh words.
For a lot of the stuff Marvel's doing. Don't let my opinion ruin your good time. But I legitimately don't understand why people love this ride. Like, I don't. It's typically a walk-on. Last time we rode this, I fell asleep. It's a great nap spot. I don't understand it. I'm glad if people love it. That's fantastic. And like, I guess I would say the best version of it would be around Christmas when they do have the Christmas lights. But I appreciate farmers. I do. I love the fact, like, we need more of them. We need to appreciate them more. But when you're talking to me about growing agriculture, that's not like, we all were given gifts. That was not one of mine. And I understand that wasn't one of mine. And I'm just like, I don't know. I tend to zone out. So I would disagree, but I'm not mad that you feel that way. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.